Hey there, it's meteorologist Jamie Singleton. It's 10 o'clock or just shy of 10 o'clock here on Wednesday night, and we're looking at Bertha here, still maintaining a circulation, causing a few problems out there depending on where you're at right now. As it continues moving out of North Carolina, the circulation is still down here near Rockingham and east of Charlotte. But the heavier rainfall with Bertha has been pulled by the upper level flow into far southwest Virginia. So I was mentioning earlier how a lot of the heavier rainfall would indeed be probably near I-77, and it's even farther west than that. But I don't want to discount the fact that we're developing rain as we see the wind at about 5,000 feet here circulating around this tropical depression, hitting the mountains here. And look at these bands that are starting to develop. I've just noticed within the past, say, 10 to 20 minutes outside the TV station here in Redwood, which is in east central Franklin County, we are seeing winds gusting, and this is not really all that significant, but we're gusting up to about 10 to 15 miles per hour, and that's after being virtually calm all day today. So we're starting to get a bit breezy now, and you can see these banding features here that are developing out of Stokes County and Patrick County in North Carolina. Nothing, in terms of any severe warnings with these. But we did have a report of a tornado or possible tornado, radar confirmed tornado in southern Mecklenburg County here, looking south from Lake Gaston. That was at about 7:07 during daylight time. I shared a picture of that. It was a very impressive looking funnel cloud that if it wasn't a tornado, it was very close to it. But the here and now involves a flood advisory that's up for northwest North Carolina until 12:15. These flood advisories will be issued throughout the night as the rainfall continues to move north through the area. But you can see what we call the deformation zone with the circulation. This is the zone at which the moisture continues to rotate in, but it's stagnant over the area. So right now from Bland County into Tazewell County, Smith County, around the Abington area, it's raining at a very good clip here, and these are tropical downpours which are adding up probably faster than the radar can estimate. So that's what I always like to emphasize with tropical systems, is that the rainfall rates can be quite impressive here. We're also looking at rainfall throughout the New River Valley, Floyd County here. A lot of our main stem rivers originate right along the crest of the Blue Ridge here, and you've got some heavier rainfall that's occurring because of the upslope wind component out of the east into Roanoke County and Franklin County and into Henry County as well. There's a little bit of a surface trough here indicated by that dark brown line as it moves a little bit farther into our area, and you can continue to see the moisture into West Virginia as well. Flood watch also includes the Allegheny Highlands, don't want to leave you out, and into the Greenbrier Valley of West Virginia. But by and large, the really heavy rain is right in through here in southwest Virginia. I can show you a product that filters out the regular rainfall and kind of shows me the tropical rainfall, or shows me the heavier rain, and that's definitely occurring here through Tazewell County, western Smith County. You can see some this is specific phase shift. Sometimes that shows me where we're getting downpours of rain. So if I zoom in around the Richlands area, you can see some pixels there showing up as green. That's some very heavy rain around Saltville and Chilhowie. So this will continue to cause some flooding issues as well. The flood advisory right now is up for Wilkes County into Sparta and Allegheny County, North Carolina. So watching that area in the immediate concern, but right now it looks like, if we continue to see this rain, we may see more flood advisories up for extreme southwest Virginia. Another way to look at the severe potential with this system is to look at the radar, and I've got underneath the radar, I've got the flood advisories up, but what I've also got up here on the screen, and I'll toggle it on and off so you can see the flood advisories there around Greensboro and in northwest North Carolina there, and also into the Charlotte area, some flash flooding issues as well. But I'll put on this is the storm relative felicity in the lowest 3 kilometers of the atmosphere. And the air is not very unstable, but where we do have a little bit of instability, we are definitely dealing with some wind shear with this system. It's not a tropical storm. You have to kind of ignore the symbol. This is just for my software to identify where the center of the low is. But there is, in the northeast quadrant of the storm, a fair amount of wind shear. And what that's going to continue to do is maybe allow for some gusty squalls to be moving north out of the South Carolina, well, actually out of the North Carolina area up against Virginia. And some of those could have a little bit of rotation, although it looks like the instability has weakened some. And so that's taken down, I think, the tornado threat for right now. I can't totally rule out the chance of something spinning up overnight tonight, especially along east of the Blue Ridge. Along in the west of the Blue Ridge, the threat will be for heavy rain and flooding. That's almost a certainty. And in between, it's a little bit of both. So we'll continue to watch this as it unfolds across the area tonight. These are the current rainfall rates, and I'll probe them here. So you can see that we're getting some of these rainfall amounts up to about a half an inch an hour to nearly an inch an hour. Those are in the heaviest downpours, but I will emphasize the fact that the radar typically is going to underestimate the amount of rain in a tropical air mass. They're just not configured to do that very effectively. So the rain is usually coming down a bit heavier than it shows, especially in a warm, soupy air mass like this. And just to show you, the dew points are way up there. Let's see if I can go to my surface observations here. We'll pop that on. These are the dew points that are in the mid 60s to upper 60s to around 70. That means that the air is almost just about completely saturated, but it also means the air is able to hold a lot of moisture. And so any of these showers that develop are able to be very efficient rainfall producers, and they are able to put down a lot of rain in a very short amount of time. This is the swath from the National Hurricane Center of where the center of this will be going, the Bertha remnants here, or tropical depression Bertha, if you will, at the moment. It looks like most of the modeling now is centered on Floyd County through Christiansburg, and I'm being hyper-local here, but Lewisburg, West Virginia, into western Greenbrier County. So areas east of there will have the upslope rains continuing, and unfortunately that is going to probably give us some flooding concerns as well for the Roanoke Valley area and other areas here, but also the deformation zone, which is going to be on the west side of all these tracks, and that's what we're seeing right now across far southwest Virginia. So just looking at my different radar software here, you can see the circulation, and this is really the zone to watch from Richlands and the Tazewell and Bluefield up around Princeton, West Virginia. I've been listening to some of the scanner frequencies here on the laptop on Broadcastify, and there are a few trees down. I can't tell exactly where because I've got like 20 windows open, but I've heard a couple of reports, most of those coming in just the past several minutes. Also, a lot of accidents reported from hydroplaning in the I-77, I-81 corridor here as they meet up around the Wytheville area. So watching that potential for you as well. But back into Franklin County, you know, these individual bands moving into Roanoke and Hollins as well and Salem are going to put down some pretty healthy rainfall rates and definitely some difficulty driving if you're out there, and you can probably get the rain beating up against the window if you have an east or northeast facing window. That's what's going on. This is the wind forecast off the latest run of the high resolution NAM, and I'll zoom it in a little bit for you here, and you can see that we actually get a fair amount of wind here over the area over the next hour or two, and that will continue to push north into the Greenbrier Valley. I think some of the mountain peaks here are going to get up around 30 to 35 miles per hour, and even Roanoke and Lynchburg could see gusts up around 15 to 25, maybe up to 30 miles per hour as well out of the east, and that could topple a few trees because the ground is still pretty saturated, and we're now wet outside because of all the rain that's been occurring. That will quickly shift north into the Shenandoah Valley and the Potomac Highlands here as we go through about 5 to 7 a.m. tonight. And then we're going to see more showers and thunderstorms develop in a more scattered variety throughout the day tomorrow. Here's the future radar off the latest HER model. This is the HER version 4, which is the newest model that's out right now. But we fast forwarded here to about midnight, and you're still dealing with a fair amount of heavy rain in far southwest Virginia, and you're still dealing with these banding features here. And again, these bands could have some squally conditions, and a squall is some very heavy rain and some gusty winds that would be in this case out of the east. That continues across the Roanoke Valley area. Now it looks like until about 2 or 3 in the morning at least, because we're developing kind of a tail on the east side of this system. And instead of just the core of it moving through now, it's become elongated. And we're seeing the heaviest of rainfall move in the far southwest Virginia and West Virginia by around 3 a.m. But we're seeing this elongated tail of possible shower and thunderstorm activity that will develop south of it. So it's more of a north-south type looking system. And it was like that yesterday, actually, off the coast of Florida. But as we look at the morning hours tomorrow, most of it again shifts north into Winchester and Charlottesville. But I am watching this line that may develop here of storms to the south of it. Again, that tail that I'm going to watch through Richmond and the Raleigh-Durham area by 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Watch what happens to the afternoon and the evening hours of your Thursday. Because it's a warm, soupy air mass, we'll get these kind of random splash and dash super soakers out there that can produce some isolated flash flooding as well. And there's even some low-level rotation that could be possible in some of this because we've got the upper level low off to our west that's enhancing some of the low-level wind shear. So we'll be watching this as well for severe potential isolated in coverage and some flash flooding potential also isolated in coverage. This could continue into Thursday night. Bertha will be long gone, but we're still going to be in this air mass that will feature those scattered showers and storms. And then for Friday, a very active day coming up Friday with numerous clusters of showers and heavier thunderstorms expected. I'm going to go through here a few of my windows that I have open. I'm going to go first to the Virginia Department of Transportation. We're looking at a live traffic camera here on I-77. And this is at mile marker 1.2. So this is right around where I've got a road closure reported on Landsberg, in Carroll County, actually, Landsberg Road. I believe there is a tree down in that area. But you can see traffic is moving along, although it's raining very heavy. And you can't really see it there, but you can tell by the lens there, the waterlogged lens there showing you where it's raining very hard this evening. Got a traffic accident also showing up here at mile marker 98. This is in Pulaski County. This is one of the things I was listening to on the scanner. Let me see if I can move that window. The south right lane and right shoulder closed. Traffic back up approximately half a mile. This is probably due to hydroplaning, but there's a lot of just heavy rain occurring in this area. This is the Wytheville area. Again, it's just a rainy night out there. But there are a few road closure reports. You know, you look across here and you can see even in Patrick County here at something. This was updated with the last system. So we're going to go Franklin County at 447. We had a washout reported. More than likely that's due to some of the other rains that have been occurring. But you've got a few other reports out here where there's still some problems because of the flooding that we had last week. So, you know, we continue to watch this area very carefully. There are just a handful of power outages right now. We expect those gusty winds to continue. So with the soggy ground, we're getting just a handful here. 27 outages in Smith County. We've got Carroll County here. We've got 13 outages, I'm sorry. And in Floyd County, fewer than 5. So there's really only about 345 outages for the entire AEP area. Looking in the North Carolina here on Duke Energy, there's just a handful as well in Rockingham County and the Surrey County as well. A little bit more in Forsyth County and around Winston-Salem, but this could be an ongoing issue as well. I was looking earlier at some of the spin in the atmosphere, and this is off of the HER model. This shows the 0 to 1 kilometer above the ground, that spin that's very tight to the ground with these tropical systems. And that is moving across the area right now. But again, if you don't have a storm to focus that, it's hard to get something really obvious to develop. However, I would mention that the mountains are also highlighted here. And so there's really not the zero threat. There's actually a low threat of a tornado at any given point tonight with any of these bands that move through. And that's going to continue to be something that we're going to have to keep a very close eye on, I think, as we go throughout the evening. This is a broader viewpoint, and it shows you, again, the rain as it makes its way into the Roanoke Valley area. It's more sporadic as you head east of the mountains here from Lynchburg into Danville, but you can also see the circulation starting to show up on the radar picture, and I can't emphasize enough that the wind at just about 5,000 feet off the ground is actually getting pretty strong out there, even though this was a relatively weak tropical system. The radar can actually bounce data off of the moisture that's in the air, and it sends it back on a profile that's a vertical and sends it up through the atmosphere here. So I'm going to show you the VAD wind profile, and this starts at about 4,000 feet. This is out of Floyd County where the radar site is, but it's showing 35 to 40 knot winds there between 4 and 5,000 feet out of the east. And as the heavier rain falls through that, it drags some of that down to the ground. But notice there is a fair amount of wind shear as well, directional wind shear, as you go up in the atmosphere. And these are different times that you're looking at. So this is the latest right here on the right. But the wind's out of the east, and then as you go up in the atmosphere, it's out of the south. And so that allows for, this is veering, and it allows for some rotation possible. There's also, the higher gusts that occur in the straight line fashion with some of this activity. So it's something, again, that, bears watching throughout the evening hours of tonight. This is the 500 or the 5,000 foot winds here over the next several hours, and we're getting into that zone again where the circulation aloft is in northwest North Carolina, but right through the New River Valley into the western part of our area, including Roanoke and including Southside, you've got winds of about 30 to 45 to 50 miles per hour out of the east, just off the ground. So Bertha weakened once it moved inland, but just off the surface, it didn't weaken all that much. Still relatively weak compared to maybe a hurricane, but this is some notable wind that's going to do two things. It'll produce some gusty squalls out there, but it's also going to produce some heavier rainfall. And in fact, the Weather Prediction Center is watching our area, especially the mountainous areas, through the next several hours, 4 to 6 hours, for the potential for some additional rainfall to be developing over that area. But again, that's going to shift north through the area tomorrow. I'm just kind of browsing through here. I want to show you also that same image, but this is off the actual analysis. And you can see that the highlighted winds there are coming out of North Carolina, just entering our area. And again, they're coming out of the east. So if you start to see the heavier rainfall, or you can hear the gusting out there, that's what's going on. The center of the storm aloft is starting to move in. At the surface, it's becoming less of a feature, but it's starting to look more impressive aloft, and that sometimes happens with these systems. Now, I've got a few local storm reports coming in now from southern Mecklenburg County and in the Warren County, North Carolina. This just came in, but it's from 7:08 p.m. Warren County 911, numerous trees and power lines down and a shed and outbuilding destroyed. That occurred in the same spot where they had that tornado debris signature on the Raleigh radar earlier tonight. That lines up well with that funnel cloud report and picture there as well. If you're in North Carolina, the Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Forsyth County, Guilford County area, Davidson County, North Carolina area is also under a flood advisory. That's in effect until 11 o'clock this evening. So I believe that's all I have for you for right now. Just continuing to watch things out there progress as the night unfolds. I'll be watching the radar for you and keeping an eye on any alerts that come in. It does, again, appear that the mountainous areas are going to continue to see the heavy rainfall and more than likely some flooding issues within the next hour or two, because the ground just can't handle the rain that's coming down. Again, it's not coming down too steadily or heavily east of the Roanoke Valley into Bedford and, say, Danville, but once you make your way into Franklin County, yeah, it's raining pretty at a pretty good clip. I've just neared about a half an inch since the storm started. Maybe we will get up to an inch or two in the Franklin County area, but I think in here through the southwest mountains, I'm looking at probably up to 4 inches possible by tomorrow morning. It's not the exact totals that are going to be the issue here. This is the rainfall that's falling, again, in a tropical air mass, and so it's falling and it's very efficient. So that means the rainfall rates are falling at in a way that may outpace the ground's ability, the water system cycle's ability to disperse that water. And so you'll have some low-lying flooding for sure and you're probably already seeing it in far southwest Virginia. So I do anticipate some flood advisories for Virginia here shortly. It's up to the Weather Service to do that, though, but I also anticipate some pretty squally bands here coming out of Franklin County into the Roanoke Valley area, and that'll be progressing north through Botetourt and Rockbridge County by tomorrow morning. In fact, in the next few hours, it'll start getting a bit windier in some of those elevations north of the Roanoke Valley as well. That's your update for right now. I have more updates as needed throughout the night. Stay weather aware and have ways to get warnings, and maybe a way to, for your phone to wake you up. Make sure your alerts are enabled tonight, just in case, as you can never turn your back on a landfalling tropical system.